Welcome to the Word of the Week for the week of February 5th, 2023. The word this week is expectation, expectation. Expectation means the act or state of looking forward or anticipating, a prospect of future good or profit, or the degree of probability that something will occur. Our scripture comes from Proverbs 11, chapter 23rd verse. The desire of the righteous is only good, but the expectation of the wicked is wrath. And from Jeremiah 29th chapter 11th verse, for I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for calamity, to give you a future and a hope. When I was a young woman just going to college, it seemed the entire world of possibility was in front of me. I graduated in the top 10% of my class, had earned a 4-year scholarship, and I was very optimistic about my future. You see, I was going to be the first of my immediate family to actually graduate from college with my bachelor's degree. I had plans to be an accountant, make a ton of money, and retire at 50, a millionaire. I was so optimistic that some of my peers referred to me as sunshine because I could always find a way to put a positive spin on potentially negative circumstances. Then life happened. After struggling to complete the courses required to earn my degree, which was not in accounting, I might add, getting a job and relocating to nowhere near where I thought I would land, 2 children with a whole lot of living in between, my optimism took a turn toward realism bordering on pessimism. It seemed that the few Bible stories that I had remembered from my childhood were no longer enough to sustain me. My new worldview had relegated the Bible to a compilation of semi-historical rhetoric, and Jesus was just a man like any other man who was a mere character in this book of stories. My faith, my status, and my beliefs were all under fire. I had made church a social event, and one could say without error that I was in a backslidden state of being. Although I was relatively still a good girl, I was becoming one of those people that religious people describe as wicked and without any desire to serve or even know God. My conversation changed from the positive, by the time I graduate, I expect to the negative, if you have no expectations, you have no disappointments. My expectations became condemnations of hope and an absence of faith. The essence of Proverbs 23:11 became my reality. I was struggling in all areas of my life, but even though I had left God, He never left me. I realized this fact in hindsight. Even though I am one of the least of His children, God kept me engaging with people who helped lead me back to Him. Because I surrendered to His authority, He restored my understanding of my value to Him. He wanted me to live in hope and the expectancy of great things for me and my family. When Jeremiah spoke to the Israelites, for I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for calamity, to give you a future and a hope, the Babylonians was holding them in bondage. Their bondage was to last another 70 years. God was emphatically declaring to them that He and He alone would be their deliverer. He was declaring that He was still faithful to the promises He made to their ancestors despite their disobedience. Even as He chastised them, He let them know He could still be trusted to be their hope and their deliverer. I experienced the same when I realized that my struggles were God allowed. Those struggles were the only way I would learn that trusting Him releases the spiritual chains of bondage that are brought on by hopelessness, fear, and worry. I became strengthened and fortified. Although my mistakes brought punishment because of my ignorance and disobedience, I began to enjoy the hope and freedom to live in expectation. This too will pass because God's got it became my new words. Our faith is the evidence of God's authority in our lives without regard to the trial, the condition, the illness, or the problem. Even when things seem dark and gloomy, God's promise to deliver us from evil is real, in spite of our understanding of what He is doing or where He is taking us. Acknowledge that God is in control no matter the test. You are a child of God, so live in expectation that even when facing death, the best is yet to come. God bless you. Orina.